Today on Oh So Simply, we are talking about virtual nannying. So, Rainey, what is virtual nannying?
Virtual nannying is exactly what it sounds like. It's basically FaceTime with the kids. You know, the nanny's on one side in her house with her video camera set up on her laptop or on her phone, and the little one has either a tablet or a laptop set up for them. And better yet, if the parents can cast it onto their TV, that would be like great, because then the little one wouldn't even have to touch or hold an expensive device.
So this is the nanny video chatting the family or the child or what?
It's the nanny video chatting the kids. Of course, you're going to have the family in the background at some point, and you could be like, hey, how's it going? But it's mainly for the kids to give the parents some needed downtime and some rest.
So this isn't just the nanny on the TV, parents leaving to go to work, and the toddler just sitting there in front of the TV all day hoping that, he doesn't get into bleach or something.
No, definitely not. I don't recommend, as a complete disclaimer here, I do not recommend virtual nannying as childcare. Like, it is not just general childcare. There does need to be an adult, a responsible adult, in the same house or room as the kid that's having this virtual interaction. It's just a way, especially like I was thinking about it with the family that I just parted ways with as he went into daycare. His mom and dad are both now working from home, but they both still work full time. And on top of that, they're planning their wedding. So they kind of have a lot going on, and now he's not in daycare anymore. And so for them to be on 24/7 with him, it's kind of a lot, and it takes a lot out of them. And he's also just generally not super mellow as far as like playing by himself. Like, he does not like playing by himself for a long period of time, which not many kids his age do. So having video chats with them, or with him, I should say, can give them the needed time for going and being in a separate space, like in their office, and having time to just sit down and focus on work and get things done.
Okay. So it's just like to assist the parents. It's not to actually take over like you normally would with a nanny.
Right. It's a little bit of a tailored nanny situation, but it not only gives them some ease, but it also just reestablishes and reaffirms the relationship that you've built up with the kids up to this point, so that they don't feel left or cut off from you. It's really important to maintain those relationships, especially with little ones that haven't yet really, like, they don't really understand yet that even though they don't see you every day, that you still are there and love them, which I know sounds weird, but they just don't have that part down yet. So being able to interact with them regularly, as well as reminding the parents that you're still around. So as soon as this COVID-19 situation is like over and done with, they don't move on feeling like they can get by without you, because that'd be a little awkward. Like, this is also a little bit of a way to secure your job when everything does start back up.
Okay. Do you know anyone who does this, or have you seen any examples of virtual nannying?
So one example I have is of my friend who she has been doing like school with her nieces and nephews virtually. And this just gives the two of her brothers a break, because right now they're being stay-at-home dads and their wives are both still in necessary jobs that are still operating in our area. And so the dads are like, what do I do? Now they're both home and like so much is going on. So she's just taking like 2 hours a day to be with the kids, and she plans these engaging projects and makes sure that her brothers have the materials ahead of time for the kids. But basically she's been homeschooling them, which has been super awesome, and it gives both of her brothers a little bit of a break that they can, get a cup of coffee or make themselves a big fat sandwich and just sit in the background and watch. Like, they get a moment of sanity, a moment to themselves.
I didn't think about that people who are still in necessary jobs, they need babysitters more, or nannies more than they did before, which I thought nannies would be hurting for work, but I guess depending on who you're working for, you might have more work than normal.
Yeah, definitely it's an interesting job field to be in right now. With COVID-19 and all that's going on with it, in Washington State, we're not supposed to leave our homes, really, unless it's for essential things, like groceries and medical supplies and things like that. But, for example, I used to work with a nurse, and she still has to work for obvious reasons, and she has a kid, and so her kid still needs childcare. The problem is that not all nannies feel comfortable exposing themselves to people that are in those high-risk situations. And so it's kind of a both ways thing where nannies aren't always wanting to work in these positions. Families don't want nannies in their home unless they're, like, if they're not in necessary jobs or if they're now working from home. So virtual nannying is kind of like the perfect middle ground. For this person in particular, the mom that's a nurse, she actually does need someone in the house with this kid because she's not there, or because she's out working. But what we found is that a neighbor is okay having her kid there with her, but she's never nannied before. She's not super familiar with kids, so she just doesn't know what to do with this kid.
So that would be a good situation to have a virtual nanny there as kind of like coach the friend along and to entertain the kids when the neighbor doesn't really know what to do.
Exactly. And like, even being a nanny doesn't always mean having to be there physically. It doesn't always mean even having to be there virtually, but just for that example, being able to hop on a virtual call first thing in the morning for about 2 hours, have an entertaining, interactive experience with this kid, and then set the adult that's left in charge of her physically, set them up for success and set them up with the resources like the article that I posted last week, School Closures and Education. Like, set them up with those resources and be that sense of relief for these families, because they will remember you. They will remember how much of an aid you were to them in their time of need. And so you're opening yourself up to more job opportunities later. Also, nannies, it's important to remember there are a lot of parents that are now at home with their kids full time that are not used to being at home full time with their children. So, for example, that situation where the dads are now staying at home with the kids 24/7, they don't know what to do because it used to be that their wives worked part-time and they worked part-time and they played off of each other that way. But now their wives are having to up their schedule because, the fathers have been laid off. And so now that, they kind of look like first-time parents, like all over again, and they just don't really know what to do. And so having even a few moments to just let them collect their thoughts is like a fantastic thing for us to be able to do for others right now.
Okay. So you said you knew someone who has done virtual nannying. Like, what are some things that they do? Like some cool ideas how they utilize the format?
Yeah. So, okay. So you guys, I have a ton of ideas, and they will all be linked in the article that will be attached to this podcast episode. But just some general ideas, there's always arts and crafts that you can do. Kids often have a plethora of construction paper and markers and glue and glitter and just all of the things. And even if they don't have them, they're at the grocery stores that these parents are going to have to go to eventually anyways. So, don't be afraid to make a quick shopping list or to have the parents order these things to be shipped directly to their house through Amazon, because honestly, the parents are probably willing to do more purchasing to keep their children entertained than they used to. But yeah, arts and crafts, science experiments. We have so many science experiments that honestly are so cool on our Pinterest, on our Boredom Busters Pinterest page. Like simple things like an old 2-liter soda being turned into like a tornado, or you can make a homemade cloud, or there's just all of these things, especially with water-based science experiments that you can do and have the kid watch and have them suggest things, like maybe they want to add some glitter or they want to add some beads. And being a nanny, honestly, I know that you guys all have this backstock of like arts and craft supplies, and if you don't, then I don't understand, because I feel like I've always had this like giant box of arts and craft supplies for kids. What else? There's always, this one. Okay, you guys. We recently put a page up on ohsosimply.com that is the Play Hooray play prompts. All of the links on there are affiliate links, but they cost you nothing extra to get them. And she has a bunch of these free downloadable play prompt cards that give you ideas, and they list the supplies on there that you would need. But one thing that she does is on her Instagram, she does live storytelling, which is fantastic. She recently did this book about superheroes, and so she put on a cape and a mask and she told the story, like read the story to the kids, and all the parents had to do was go to the live stream and watch the video with their kids lying in bed, and she was providing entertainment while that parent could probably close their eyes a little bit more for a little bit more sleep, because we all know these little ones keep waking up at 5:30 to 6, and it's like, I'm working from home now. I don't need to be awake.
No, that is genius. That's really genius. That's great.
Yeah. She's also based in the UK, just so you guys know, so the time difference is also quite excellent, in my opinion, being on this side of the world, in the States. So yes, the Play Hooray play prompts are on our website. You can go to our website at ohsosimply.com/resources/Play Hooray. And if you go there, you can click on any of the buttons on that page for 10% off. So do that. That's a bonus. And a couple of other things that are more like field trips, which is what I was talking about earlier, that my friend is doing with her nieces and nephews. And then they do an interactive lesson. They do a story about the topic. So they were doing animals this last Tuesday. They were doing animals. So she did, they drew the animal. They made masks out of paper plates of their favorite animals, and then they got to put them on while she was reading them a story about animals. And then she took them on a virtual tour of the zoo. So, like with things like Zoom, you can share your screen and take them on a virtual tour of the zoo, which is so cool and so interactive. The zoo has a bunch of cameras set up that you can see these different exhibits.
Yeah, it's not just zoos. You were just telling me, like 30 minutes ago, that Disneyland has virtual tours. So you can literally take your kids to Disneyland through Zoom.
Correction. Disney World.
Oh.
He is a Disney virgin, basically. Like, he's just not a Disneyland lover and a Disney lover as much as I am. But Disney World, you guys, they have virtual tours of Disney World, which is amazing. They also have virtual tours of different art galleries. Like, I found this massive list, I'm gonna link it, that they have so many virtual art galleries and
Do they have,
museums.
Like, the Met tours? Or the Met Museum?
Yeah. They have the Met Museum. They have the Guggenheim Museum. They just have so many of these big, well-known museums. The
really
Guggenheim is not that big. But anyways, they have all of these big museums.
Guggenheim. That's just a fun word.
Yeah, it is. Another thing I wanted to mention, so those are all of the virtual tour field trip things that you can do with the kids if you're not super creative or crafty. And always go check out our Boredom Busters page on our website, but also more so fleshed out on our Pinterest account. So that's at OS Simply. It's super fleshed out on our Pinterest. I'm working on getting some more of them up onto our website. It's just taking a little bit of time, trying to stick with the brand colors and everything, so having to redo all the images. But what I wanted to say is that there are some other general game ideas that you can play with the kids. So I'm just going to read them off really quick. They'll all be listed below, but basically there's Mad Libs, Simon Says, I Spy, online chess or checkers, depending on their age. You can play 20 questions. You can play Who Am I? There's online video games that you can interact with each other in, and those are for the older kids, like probably the 8 or 9-year-olds to, 13, 14. They'd be really into that. You can play any board game that the kid has at their house because they can move your pieces for you. You can have them do a scavenger hunt. they can bring the items to you and show them to you, and you can even have like a cool stopwatch, or you can pull up a cool timer on your computer and screen share it with them so that they can know that they're being timed and that it's like this super spy thing. Live these things up, guys. Really play them out.
Also, I just want to bring up, we recently, well, I don't know if Rainey did, but I was playing some board games with my friends over Zoom, and it sounds awkward, but it's really fun, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And you could definitely do it with little kids, too, but, if you were just wondering if that's really feasible, it is. It works really well.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. And then I just wanted to leave you guys with the note that if you're saying, okay, I really want to do this, yes, it sounds great. How do I do it? Call some of your previous families that you've worked for. If you're a completely new nanny and you were just getting started right as everything happened and hit, definitely shoot me an email and I will help you get connected with a local agency that is providing virtual sitter services. One of them I know is Sitter City. They are offering virtual sitters. I have another company that I'm going to talk to and see whether or not they do. I'm pretty sure they do, but I don't want to give them out, put them out there just in case they don't. But definitely shoot me an email with where you're at, what your availability is, and I can try to pair you up with someone that I know. What I mean by where you are, it's what time zone are you in? Because it doesn't really matter where physically you live, but what time zone are you in, so that I can pair you up with someone in that similar time zone, or only a couple of hours off, so you're not doing some really weird hours. But yeah, I can definitely ask around. I have plenty of previous families, so I'm sure they're all looking.
And also, we've got an article about promoting yourself, and although that's more focused on getting a normal nanny job, in-house nanny job, you could just apply the same principles towards virtual nannying and really specify that when you're filling out your care.com account or other agency website account, or any other way that you're promoting yourself. Just emphasize the fact that you'd be able to be a virtual nanny, and you can mention all the benefits that go along with that. And that's at ohsosimply.com/promote-yourself-agency-websites.
Yeah, and so you guys, this has been tough, but also I'm gonna do another article about it, but just remember that this is the time that you can be focusing on self-care. I know people are saying that a lot right now, self-care, and you're just what does that even mean? Well, I binged a bunch on Netflix and then binged a bunch on Hulu, and I felt super great and relaxed, and then I realized hey, I should probably shower and do my nails and put a hair mask on and put a face mask on and eat some vegetables and start an herb garden, and there's just so many things you can do. I've also been journaling a lot recently, which has been really fun. But yeah, so just take this time to do some self-care, you guys, and to really amp up your motivation to start nannying when you can again, physically, I mean. So go onto our website and get the contract downloaded and printed, create your nanny binder. We're gonna be posting that DIY nanny binder printable soon, but once that's up, go on there, get ready, because as soon as everything happens, people are going to be frantically looking for nannies, I almost guarantee you, because they're all going to be going back to work at the same time. Yeah. And they all, at this point, have probably laid off a lot of their physical nannies.
Yeah.
So.
And also, speaking of the nanny binder, we did just today put up the nanny daily logs that you can use when you go back to nannying full-time in houses, and you can get that at our Patreon page, or you can check out what it's all about at our resources page.
Yeah. So let's help some people, especially all those nurses and doctors that are working super hard out there, by being there for them and supporting them while they're supporting others.
Yep. If you enjoyed this article, make sure to go check out our Patreon and see what we're offering there. We'd love to get your support and have you be a part of our nanny community.
Yeah. Until next time. Bye.